And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again, another day committed to being your consumer advocate. It's all about helping you understand your buying decisions here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, making you just a bit more street smart, as we say here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Save our hotline number in your phone at some point. You may need it. Give us a call or a text at 813-670-7372, our Consumer Advocate hotline. 813-670-7372. Now, you can call or text that line anytime. Also, bookmark our website, consumerqb.com. You can see links there to all of our expert contributors at consumerqb.com. We want to help you win in any marketplace. That's the goal of our show. Giving a shout out to Golf Cart Depot. Say hello to our friends over at the Golf Cart Depot. Marty is the owner. Give them a call. Let them know you heard about them here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And test drive one today. You can test drive one at your home or office. How cool is that? They'll deliver the golf cart to you. You can test drive it. And they've got the top of the line. They've got Easy Go, Star EV, Cushman, Icon electric vehicles, pre-owned and remanufactured golf carts available from the Golf Cart Depot. 2 locations here in Tampa Bay, Land O'Lakes and Clearwater. And make sure you let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. And let's make our introductions here in studio. Let's go ahead and make a quick introduction. Give us a little teaser what you're going to talk about today. William Walls, he's the senior editor with Eli in the Ghost Publishing.
Right. What we're going to be talking about today, really quick, is basically writing effectively, making sure that you consider your audience.
Nice. Okay, I like that. I've written 2 books so far today. I'm halfway through a 3rd book with you guys, and Eli's helping me, and Lisa, and it's been a great pleasure so far, and looking forward to getting that out. This one's a little bit more about real estate, some of the marketing techniques, strategies, recruiting, and things of that nature. So we're real excited about that. And we're going to go to the phones now. We got Dan Menikheim on the phone, Pro Health Pest Control. Dan, how you doing?
Great. It's hot, and the bugs are doing well.
Yeah, that's right. It's that time of year, isn't it? It's we dodged a bullet with this hurricane on the East Coast, off the coast over there, and how's that affecting things? What are you seeing out there, buddy?
Well, for real estate transactions, we go out there and we'll do termite inspections. We're still seeing plenty of that, and definitely an increase in ants and mosquitoes. Rainy weather will bring more ants and more mosquitoes.
Yeah, absolutely, especially if you live near a body of water, it seems like with our location there, Lake Tarpon. So midges, mosquitoes, got the mosquitoes out there. Real estate transactions specifically as well. When you look at real estate transactions, there's a lot on the line. You got a buyer ready to buy, a seller ready to move, title company, mortgage, all the different folks involved. You guys come in and are able to inspect and also treat in some cases when it comes to those different issues that come up.
Yeah, we can. But if you see some termite activity, that's something that usually needs to get remediated before the purchase goes through. So that's something we do on a daily basis. And a lot of termites. We're in Florida, in the south, subtropical climate. The further south you go, the more termite issues you're going to have. It's part of the real estate in Florida. That's what I always explain to our customers. You don't necessarily not want to buy a home because of termites. They can be treated. So, yeah.
I think it's a misconception. Sometimes people just they kind of think about it as a kind of like one of those cartoons. You ever see those cartoons where the bugs come in, they bite, and then the house just all of a sudden falls down? And that's not the case.
Yeah. Nope. And it can be the case if left untreated for decades and decades.
Right.
I did run into a home last week that the termite damage was so intense that it definitely did structural issue. But that's I do this daily.
Yeah.
And that happens. That doesn't happen that often. But that's very rare. Most of the time, it's a nuisance. They can cause a lot of damage. Don't get me wrong, billions and billions of dollars worth of damage.
Yep.
Most of the time, it's cosmetic and a little bit of structural, and all that needs to be done is a termite treatment and some cosmetic repairs most of the time.
Right.
Not always.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And sometimes I think it's kind of thrown in there. Sometimes with the mold word, sometimes people look at, well, hey, it's Florida, it's humid, it's going to be wet. There's going to be some mold. Sometimes we talked to Brandon Faust over at Mold Zero. He can get you inspected. He can get it taken care of when it comes to that type of thing. Rob had a question before the show. He was saying, "What's the deal with hornets? What are you seeing about hornets?" And they got that new rare breed. What is it? Murder hornets, right?
Yeah. They just is if you get pest control, we should be able to handle it, or even another pest control company. If there happens to be hornets on around your home, you just go ahead and just treat them like they're wasps or hornets or whatever. And the pest control products do work on them, and it does kill them.
Yep. I saw an interesting video. It was on one of the groups I'm involved with. I think it was one of like a Joe Rogan group or something on Facebook. But it was some kind of a hornet or a bee, and they had a praying mantis had it in its claws. And it was just like literally eating its head away. It was crazy.
Yeah, I have not seen that. I don't know if I don't know how many praying mantis can snack on murder hornets. If that's something that you do have, I would call a local pest professional to take care of the problem. But certainly they do eat bugs. That's for sure.
Yeah, and going back to where we're at here, we're kind of cruising right along. 2020, we had some setbacks with COVID-19, of course, the pandemic. How have you guys adapted with the pandemic, and what's kind of changed on a daily basis? Have you had to change a little bit of your strategy?
Actually, well, I mean, the way we approach people,
Yeah.
we tend to not leave any leave behinds, which seems to be odd. We'll wear masks and gloves when we go inside the home, but besides that, we see a lot more people spending more time at home, and a lot more people aware of what's going on in their home because they're in their home so much more.
Yeah.
So it's just people are more aware of their environment inside their home.
Right.
As far as anything else is concerned, we're about as busy as we've ever seen before. So
That's awesome. Yeah, it seems like Tampa Bay real estate is just super hot. It's on fire. More and more people coming from those out-of-state areas, those high-income tax states, those cities as well that are kind of overrun with the civil unrest, et cetera. We're talking with Dan Menikheim here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. He's the owner of Pro Health Pest Control, and he and his wife, who you've also heard on the show as well, own and operate it. And talk a little bit about success. Lots of other, business owners. I know realtors are listening to this show. We've got, a great following now, 7 years on air, by the way, since we've been on air. But how have you grown your business? To give us some nuggets of advice in terms of, your success strategies and how you've been able to successfully grow your business.
I take a lesson from you in the 7 years I've been listening to your show is we're really out there to be a consumer advocate, right?
Yeah.
What I personally do, and I try to teach everybody else is don't worry about whether just let's educate and communicate with people and do what you would want be done to you. And then we build a reputation of having integrity and honesty with what we do. And if I talk to somebody about pest control, I'm never attached to the sale. I try not to be. I would like the sale, but I'm going to educate them as much as they want. And if they choose to go do business with us or not, that's okay. And if they don't, I just want my reputation to be, outstanding in the community. That's all I worry about, and it's created much success over the years I've been in business. So
yeah, absolutely. I just joined a ELP network for Dave Ramsey, and it's basically an endorsed local provider, they call it. But I was on a mastermind yesterday, and that was one of the topics that came up is the success strategies, and it was saying one of the biggest things is that client experience. How, okay, from a real estate perspective, okay, now we're under contract. What do I expect? Now we're past the inspection period. We got a closing coming up. How do I prepare? So I think the point was creating a video vault or library that you can send to your client that says, okay, we just went under contract. Here's the next things to start thinking about. Here's what to expect. Because as long as the client understands, where they're at, where they're going, I think that alleviates a lot of the anxiety in the transaction.
Yeah, education is we're learning more and more. Education is key to setting expectations.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, that sounds good, man. Well, we appreciate you, Dan. Be safe out there, and thanks for all you do in the community, man. Appreciate you calling in.
Yeah, thank you as well. You're very welcome.
Yes, sir. All right. That's Dan Menikheim, expert contributor, Pro Health Pest Control here with the Consumer Quarterback Show. Support the local economy, local companies like Dan and his team. They do such a great job here in Tampa Bay. Pillars of the community, investing in the community, investing in local nonprofit organizations and charities. And coming up, we got William Walls in studio. We're going to talk about writing your own book, ghostwriting process, how to be memorable, how to not be boring. And I love some of the topics that we're going to talk about here, and not to be make your client bored or confused, or the reader bored or confused. That's going to be fun topics right here coming up on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Later, we have legal analyst attorney Jason Kobal in studio, as well as we're going to be checking in with Children's Cancer Center right here in Tampa Bay. So we got a great lineup for you. Plus, our feel-good story of the day: hero rescues unconscious man from burning vehicle. Stay with us. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes. Do not touch that dial. I'll come right through the radio and grab your throat.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here. I'm your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, helping you win buying, selling, or investing. We would love to talk to you. Of course, any other realtors that want to join our team, we are growing our team right now. Lots of leads coming in. and we need great agents to help us grow. And we love to talk to you here. Reach out to the hotline, 813-670-7372. Open phones at 813-670-7372. That's our consumer advocate hotline. And giving a shout out to the Bill Maher Beach Resort, the official hotel partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show, the Bill Maher Beach Resort, right on Treasure Island, Florida. And check them out online. Book directly. Talk to Clyde Smith. He's the general manager. Let him know you heard about him right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. 2 pools on site, Sloppy Joe's Beach Bar and Restaurant, and it's a great time over at the Bill Maher Beach Resort. Check him out online as well. Hashtag is Bill Marvelous. Let him know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. Couple of hot listings here in Tampa Bay. We got some great opportunities here in beautiful Tampa Bay. I've got lots of vacant land opportunities, single family homes for sale here in Tampa Bay. Here's one at 12208 Four Oaks Road in Tampa, 12208 Four Oaks Road, $1.8 million asking price. But what we're offering here is 5 acres to develop land. You can put about 40 to 50 units on this property. 9 units per acre essentially is what you're looking at. 12208 Four Oaks Road in Tampa. Great buying opportunity. Attention builders and developers for that great opportunity here in Tampa Bay. 8325 West Hillsborough Avenue. This is an opportunity for a business owner. Stop leasing and buy your own building. Invest in the asset column of your business. And it's 8325 West Hillsborough Avenue in Tampa. Hillsborough Avenue has about 50,000 vehicles going by per day. And you also have signage out by the road. Check out all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
Somewhere sunny and 75.
All right, we got William Walls in the house, senior editor with Eli and the Ghost Publishing. Welcome back again into the studio. And let's talk a little bit about the business. So as a professional editor, what's the number one problem that people have when they try to write, when they're writing?
Well, the biggest thing that I see is when writers don't write for their audience. And by that, I mean people that have something that they want to write. The impulse is that they have something that they want to say. But when you don't think beyond that, and you're just trying to scratch that itch, so to speak. I've got something to say. I want to say it. I want to write it out. You end up with a message that's not considering the reader's perspective. You have to think beyond that to, well, what does the reader need to hear? What do they want to hear?
That makes sense.
So that's what I mean by not writing for the audience. And this is true for books, obviously, but it's as much as it's important for books, it's important for every kind of writing, whether it's articles, social media posts for your sales funnel, anything that you're doing with the written word. It's absolutely critical.
And is it also kind of human nature? Do you find where people almost, when they look at writing a book or a blog, they go into a mindset of the ego? You know, the ego gets in the way and it's just more about me and look what I've done versus, again, back to that end reader. How is this going to benefit that end consumer?
It does happen a lot. It's very difficult to dissociate your professional goals from the reader's need.
Right. So that's what you want to look at. And then, you know, how does a writer learn to write so their audience isn't bored or confused? I think that's a big one too.
Well, I can tell you what I did. I started writing personally about 10 years ago. And I'd been editing before then, but I found that when I started writing, I looked at editing from a different perspective. And it really, both sides of that coin kind of started to inform each other. And I started to attend writers groups to improve my writing.
Yeah.
And I think it's true for any creative pursuit. You have to find your tribe. And I found with writing, you can get involved with a writers group, and whether you're working on a book or whether you're working on literally any kind of messaging, an advertising campaign, you can find some kind of a group that's going to help you tailor that, work on moving that perspective from you having a message that you're trying to say to your reader having a message that they need to hear.
Right. And how do you do that now that it's more social distancing?
Well, now they can actually contact us. We've recognized that there is a difficulty with writers groups not being able to meet in person. And so we've got an online solution for that, and they can reach out to us at theghostpublishing.com. We've got a contact us page there. They can reach out to us. We'll be happy to help them get set up.
Very cool. Very cool. I like that. And do you need to be someone who wants to publish a book to join the kind of group, or is it just somebody can join it without wanting to write their own book and publish?
Our group, definitely not. Anyone that wants to learn how to improve their writing, Like I said, whether it's a book they're working on or a copy for their website or memoir for their kids, any kind of writing that you need to do, professional, personal,
Yep.
we're there to help them.
Yep. Fiction, nonfiction, educational, all
of
different
it,
types
business
of books.
anything you can think of.
Yeah. Yeah. I seem to gravitate towards, I went to Tony Robbins Business Mastery back in 2010. It was actually taught in Namale, Fiji. It was an awesome trip. And, I walked on fire, but I tend to be in that business section more, the personal development. I just picked up Dave Ramsey's book, always looking at learning, growing. Stephen Covey, one of my favorites. Chris Voss, Never Split the Difference, a great book. What was one of your favorite books or some of your favorite books?
I would say I definitely started reading Tony Robbins back in the 90s.
Yeah.
I almost idolize this guy. He's the
powerhouse.
guy who started the whole trend from my perspective. And it seems like everybody that walks that path now, he laid a lot of those milestones that everyone is now working on.
And before him, it was Jim Rohn, and then and Earl Schoaf. Earl Schoaf was Jim Rohn's guy.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So it's kind of funny how it's, a lot of the ideals, it's not like they invented them. It's just that they twisted it to their, style, or, Tony was from California, so maybe he had a little bit of California vibe to it. But yeah, it's a lot of the Jim Rohn and the Zig Ziglars and those types of things. Those are some of my favorite types, and it's, keeps you motivational.
Yeah, I think Stephen Siebold is another one that I've read, and Brian Tracy. He's
Tracy's
another
great.
one that I like
him.
to read a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, very good stuff. What any success stories that you think of, like people that you've helped have a book, they loved it, their audience received it well, or any kind of stories you care to share?
I would say the first book that I worked on for Eli was a project where we had an author who really was struggling in the ghostwriting phase of it to come up with material. And when it landed on my desk as an editor, I actually ended up having to sit in with the writer to kind of reconstruct some of the ghostwriting sessions so I could kind of flesh out what he was saying. It took a lot of work on our part to take his message and package it in a way that the reader would respond to it. And we did launch that book, and it was extremely successful. He's now on stages, and it's accomplished for him everything that he wanted it to. And it was really a great experience to take something that at the beginning, when I first saw it, especially my first project that I worked on for Eli, I thought this was going to be a disaster.
Oh, yeah.
But we all came together. We worked really hard on it, and we ended up with a great book, and it's been really great for him.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And that's the story. That's the story that you want to get out, the message out to people, especially business owners, people in sales. It could be for so many different people. You have to, especially if you're in sales, and I look at a realtor, perfect example, could be mortgage, could be financial services. In my opinion, if radio been great for me, but if you look at the opportunity to grow your sphere, you have to grow your sphere of influence. How can you do that? You got to build credibility. Writing a book is just a great step in that process.
Yeah, I see it very complementary to what you do. It's really difficult to beat the immediacy of radio.
Right.
And it's really difficult to beat the permanency of the written word.
Yes.
So when you combine those two, you're really covering the whole spectrum from one end to the other.
I like that. The immediacy of radio, and then you syndicate the content to podcasts, to iTunes, to the YouTube, our show, of course, on YouTube. Now we're on Apple TV, Amazon, Roku. There's so many places, and then you create that content, and it's out there. Mm-hmm. So then you want to use the appropriate hashtags, get people back to your page, etc. But I love that, the permanency of writing a book.
Yeah, you really can get those two different messaging methodologies to play off of each other and play into each other. And you can really create some great synergy there if you really work at it.
Absolutely. We got about a minute left. Give us some top tips, your nuggets of advice, and maybe your parting words of wisdom.
Oh boy. I would say beyond writing with your audience in mind, I would say always make sure that you have a plan when you write. Have your objective clearly in your mind, and create a plan that's going to achieve that objective with your writing.
Yeah.
So that when you, from start to finish, you're being efficient with your process, and that you end up with writing that's going to accomplish what you set out to do.
Yeah, have a plan, have a outline,
Exactly.
And sit down and just make it happen.
Yes.
Don't put it off. Get it done.
Definitely.
William Walls, pleasure having you on the show. The Ghost Publishing. And, of course, you can find information on consumerqb.com for all of our expert contributors, consumerqb.com, and theghostpublishing.com as well. They have a contact us page there. And when we come back, we're going to have attorney Jason Kobal in the house. Going to give you an update on things legal happening here in Tampa Bay. And our feel-good story is awesome. It's about a hero that rescues an unconscious man from a burning vehicle. Stay with us. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Warwick Dunn, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here. I'm your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. Give a big shout out to one of our new show partners. We've got Jade's Premium Quality Cleaning. Shout out to Jade and her team. Jade's Premium Quality Cleaning.com. They do such a great job. They're also COVID-19 certified for infection prevention and control. So that's very important. Make sure your cleaning company is COVID-19 certified, as Jade's Premium Quality Cleaning is. Follow her on Facebook at Jade's Premium Quality Cleaning, and also offering a $15 discount for the first 3 callers who reach out. If you want to reach out to 813-507-9225, it's 813-507-9525, and reach out in the Consumer Quarterback Show. Make sure you let them know the real estate quarterback sent you and take them up on those special offers and incentives. Check them out. Jade's Premium Quality Cleaning. They do a great job cleaning our real estate properties and also personally cleaning our real estate home as well. All right, so we got a great lineup for you here today. We've got Jason Kobal, attorney Jason Kobal, that is, on the phones calling in this time. Sometimes he's in person, sometimes he's on the phone. Hey, Jason, how you doing?
Great, Brandon. How are you today?
Excellent, my friend, and some interesting stuff in our pre-show interview. You know, it sounds like you got some really good practical stuff for us today here on the show.
Yes, I do. I got permission from my wife to divulge that after 22 years, she was actually laid off due to COVID, and her and I, we've been dealing with the unemployment benefits here in Florida. which I've actually have a little experience in. That was my first job out of law school, was deciding those cases as an unemployment judge. But dealing with the new laws for COVID has been an interesting challenge, to say the least. But I do think I have it down. I'd love to share that with the listeners, and I think it'd be good information.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's part of the challenges that we're hearing too, is that some of the restaurant owners, different hospitality, is that folks are making so much money by staying at home. The $600 a week on top of the $275, I believe it is, and
exactly.
So that's hurting businesses on one hand. On the other hand, it's great to take care of our people, but what's the trade-off here? What's the balance, right?
You hit the nail on the head, and both sides are to blame, because the Democrats were the first, or the House was the first to suggest the $600 in addition to the state unemployment benefits. And then I remember I complained about that, and then the Republicans agreed and did the same thing. So there's either side, their hands are both dirty. But and why it's a problem is that every state is different. It's probably not as significant in other states, but in Florida, it's always been our max is $275 a week. That's the state law for the max unemployment, which is terrible. I mean, everybody knows that.
Yeah, that's pretty low. Yeah.
But you go and you add $600 to that.
Yeah.
And for some people, they're making more on unemployment or the same than they were when they're working. And they're like, why would I go back to work? Now, that wasn't the case in my wife's case, but still, $275 for the state plus $600. But the $600, of course, just ran out. And now Congress is trying to cut a deal to extend that, and they haven't done it yet. And who knows if they actually will. They say they might next week. We'll see. But my wife's expired, the $275 in Florida. It's another thing that's terrible about Florida is ours is limited to 12 weeks. So her 12 weeks came and went. The $600 stopped, and we're like, "Whoa, is that it?" But people should know there is one other outlet. If your unemployment is stopped and you received your 12 weeks, you could get 26 weeks more, and it's a federal package, but you have to apply for it on the state website, and it's actually called the Pandemic Emergency Unemployment Assistance Fund, and it basically you can't even tap into it until your 12 weeks are expired. But so if you're on unemployment and you learn that your unemployment has expired because you received all 12 weeks, go ahead and apply for the PEUC, because you may be able to get 26 more additional weeks, and that's the $275 per week. And then, of course, hopefully that $600 gets extended if they make a deal. But I don't know. We'll have to see what happens, because of the point you said, there's definitely people out there that are making more or similar to what they made when they were working on unemployment, and that that's going to motivate people not to return to work, especially with what's going on.
That's right. We're talking with our legal analyst, Jason Kobal, here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Yeah, $275 a week plus $600. Multiply that times 52. That's about $45,000 a year. People are making just to for unemployment, just to stay at home, and man, that just seems like a higher figure. $275, I agree, is a low figure, but $45,000 a year to do nothing it just seems like a little too comfortable.
I agree 100%, especially the way it worked in Florida. And I know that in the negotiations, I heard instead of $600, they were trying to look at 70%. You can't make any more than 70% of what you used to make. Now, that would make sense. But, yeah, when you get that $600, no matter what you made, you create that situation. And personally, I think that one of the two parties fell for a little trap there, but who knows? I don't want to get political.
Yeah, exactly. You see, I agree with some kind of factor based on what you were making, what you were proving that you could earn, rather than just arbitrarily just throwing out this number of 600. And I also agree that at some point we got to get back to normalcy, and we can't continue to do this, because who's going to get hit the hardest? The middle class. It just seems like the middle class is getting eroded here in the United States, and the upper 1 and 2, 3% are just, hey, they're happy, they're doing their thing. Now, you also mentioned the U.S. Supreme Court had a ruling as well, Jason.
Yes. Now, this one is very interesting, and not a lot of people know about it because the media really hasn't covered it. And I actually stumbled on it because one of the areas of law that I do is the Telephone Collections Practices Act. And what that says, one of the sections says, you cannot contact someone on their cell phone without their permission. So you have to have their express permission. Well, pollsters, this is the time of obviously every 4 years we have our election. This is the election season, and there's a lot of pollsters contacting people. The Harvard Business Review did a study on this. The most accurate way to do a poll is to contact people by phone from a random computer-generated phone dialer. Well, that is what is actually a violation of the Telephone Collections Practices Act. So for polling companies to conduct polls the most accurate way these days under the current law, it's actually illegal and a violation of the Telephone Collections Practices Act. And why it wasn't a problem in the past, but is now, is because nowadays everybody has cell phones as opposed to landlines. So right now, the only way they can legally do their polls is to either do it online, which has been, according to the studies, not as accurate, or to only contact people on landlines. And then you factor in, I read that the amount of participation, the percentage of participation when they actually do reach somebody the right way, it used to be about 38%. Now it's down to only 12% of the people are actually responding to the polls. So I wouldn't put too much weight in what the polls are saying. You know, they were wrong in 2016. Who knows if they're going to be wrong in 2020? But right now, the fact is, based on a case by the Supreme Court, the pollsters tried to deem a carve-out in that Telephone Collections Practices Act so they wouldn't get hit for those cases. And the Supreme Court said, no, there's no exception. You cannot be calling people on their cell from a random generated computer dialer without their permission. So it was a devastating loss. It just came out this month.
Yeah, and didn't we just see a rule change on the robo dialers as well? Law change?
Yeah, no, absolutely. That there was a couple law changes actually as far as what a robo dialer is. Basically, the long story short is, unless a human is dialing the phone number, it's an auto dialer. But yeah, there's a lot of litigation as far as, you know, what constitutes a robo dialer. And the long story short, like I said, it has to be a human. So in order to do a poll the right way, it has to be no human involvement. It has to be 100% random. And that's why the right way to do it would be to call people from a random generated phone dialer on their cell. And if you don't have their permission, that's actually illegal. So it's ironic. You know, the polling companies make a lot of money. There's a lot of money involved there. They won't come out and say this. The media isn't covering it. But that case came out. They tried to deem that unconstitutional and lost. So the fact of the matter is, and I don't care what polling company it is, they're either breaking that law and contacting you on your cell phone without permission. If that happens, please call me. Or they're following the law and their poll is not being done the most accurate way. And who knows? We'll see how the results are in 2020. But that is an undeniable fact, and it's not being covered by the media. And the name of the case is Barr versus. I could pull it up here in a little bit, but one of the polling companies got together with another one and joined forces. But that's the name of the case that came out, I think, the 7th of July this month.
Well, it just seems to me like, you know, if you look at different, depending on which TV station you follow, their polls are going to sway a certain way, and they're going to interview a certain amount of left-leaning people versus the right-leaning people. So to me, I don't put a lot of credence in those polling.
Right. You know, there's a right way it's supposed to be done. I mean, you know, for example, in 2016, according to the exit polls, I believe it was 35% of the people that voted were Republican. So when you're conducting a poll, their sample sizes, they're small. And it blows my mind. They're like, exactly. Okay, the sample size is 980 people, and that's going to speak for the whole country or the whole state. Either way is ridiculous, in my opinion. But they're supposed to contact 35% Republicans from a random generated. It has to be random, or else, you know, there's room for bias and whatnot. And then the same for the percentage of independents and Democrats. But even if you match all those up perfectly, because they can't do it the most accurate way, which is calling from a random generator onto a cell phone, now they're stuck either online or who has landlines? Not a lot.
Right.
And so it doesn't surprise me that they only getting 12%. Not to mention, I mean, I looked at some of the polling questions. I don't know if I would take the time to cooperate and answer all those questions. I'd probably be in that percentage that would not want to do that. So it's very interesting, and I don't see it covered on the media, but it's undeniable. Anybody could look it up. The case just came out, and unfortunately for the polling companies, they lost.
Yeah, that's interesting, Jason. And Jason Kobal Law here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. He's our local legal analyst here and all things consumer related. Jason, give a quick overview of what type of client you're looking for, and how they might want to contact you.
Absolutely. I am looking for basically anybody who's been injured, either at work, and where we don't have it's a no-fault state. Every state has a different work comp law. In Florida, it's no fault. So if you were working and you got hurt, you have a workers' comp case. I'm also looking for people that are injured in any way and are disabled, looking for disability. And, of course, car accidents. And in those cases, civil cases, slip and falls, car accidents, who knows, maybe a bar or some, didn't keep up their safety measures, caused you to get injured, whatever the case may be. Those I have to prove fault in. But basically, any kind of injury I could help you with. And then the new area, which is what I was just talking about, I got into about 5 years ago, correlates and coincides with those other the injury cases, is any time that you receive a bill from a medical bill or basically any bill that you don't feel is right or sounds fishy to you or doesn't seem accurate, give me a call, because I'm handling fair debt, and that also includes telephone calls and harassing calls for collecting on debt. So anything debt related, give me a call, or any kind of injury, give me a call.
And Tampa Work Comp Law?
Yeah, I was going to say the way to reach me is TampaWorkCompLaw.com or KobalLaw.net. Either one works, or to give the show a call.
Perfect. All right. Hey, good stuff. Always a pleasure, Jason. Thanks for taking some time out, updating us on those changes to the laws and some of the newfound information. Appreciate that.
All right. Thanks, Brandon. My pleasure.
Hey, thanks a bunch. All right. That's attorney Jason Kobal, again, supporting the local economy, local attorney representing here in Tampa Bay, Consumer Quarterback Show. And when we come back, we got Julian Bourbon, our friends over at Children's Cancer Center. You know, a lot of the nonprofits and charitable organizations have really taken a hit with the pandemic. And so we're going to offer some time here to let them share some of their story and what's happening around the Children's Cancer Center here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Our friend Julian Bourbon going to be on the show, as well as our feel-good story of the day. A hero rescues unconscious man from a burning vehicle. Stay with us right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, ConsumerQB.com.
Hey, I'm Ken Shamrock, and you're here with Consumer Quarterback Show. And I say, Brandon Rhymes, knock out your competition.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at ConsumerQB.com. You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team, Keller Williams Realty, top 1% real estate team here in Tampa Bay. This segment's brought to you by Replenish IV Solutions, the science of nutritional balance. A great time to boost your immunity by having a vitamin infusion drip from Replenish IV Solutions, the science of nutritional balance. They offer the Myers cocktail and many other types of vitamin infusion drips. Say hello to Stephen and Lisa Gunnan over at Replenish IV Solutions. Let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. All right, we got a hot listing here in Tampa Bay, 520 George Street South. This is a waterfront property on Lake Tarpon that we've got listed. It's a 2,500-acre lake. You got wide open water views, beautiful property here. You got your own private boat dock, mother-in-law suite, which can be used as a rental. And this is just a gorgeous lakefront home. Live the lake life here in Tampa Bay at 520 George Street South, Tarpon Springs. Also, check out one of our real estate properties at 1224 East Dr. MLK. That's a Tampa property, commercial asset right here in Tampa Bay. 1224 East Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. It's a great opportunity. Corner lot, 2 commercial lots for the price of 1. Check out all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. And every day we're going to tell you something positive in our feel-good story of the day. Here we go.
Tell me something good.
All right, so you got a man in St. Louis being hailed as a hero for pulling an unconscious man from a burning vehicle after a crash on the interstate. Kalen Robinson, 23, crashed on the Interstate 70 and was left unconscious in a burning vehicle. Robinson does not remember anything. Antonio Morgan says Robinson drove past him on I-70. Just moments later, he heard screeching brakes and a loud crunch. Robinson had crashed into the cement median. Morgan, who was driving with his son, immediately pulled over, rushed to get Robinson out of the car, and, quote, the smoke and fire and all the stuff just started coming. It started burning my eyes and hurting my throat, but I was still trying to get him out. I had to get him out, Morgan said. Morgan dragged Robinson from safety moments before his car was engulfed in flames. And, quote, Morgan says that this time, it's time for people to stop standing by and recording on their phone when they see someone in trouble. He said he's a leader. Leaders step up and you got to start acting. And so, interesting story. Seems like something out of a movie scene there in our feel-good story of the day. Pretty cool story there for our feel-good story of the day. All right, we got Children's Cancer Center back here on the show. Julian Bourbon, welcome back to the show, Julian.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, my pleasure, my friend. So tell us a little bit about, right now with the pandemic, nonprofits, charitable organizations, you are seeing some extreme financial burden right now as well, because a lot of your events were normally, they were so much fun. They were in-person events. So now you're kind of adapting, it seems.
Yeah, absolutely. We're just kind of getting used to the new normal and coming up with new ideas and new ways to be able to host some kind of events virtually or smaller events. We did an event called Ride, Restore, Refresh a few weeks ago, where we did 30 minutes of spin, 30 minutes of yoga, and 30 minutes drinks and refreshments. And we did that outside, social distance. Each bike was 6 feet apart. And we only did 25 people in two different waves, so a total of 50 people. And that was kind of just an idea that we came up with and put together. We partnered with Union 3, a local studio downtown, a boutique cycle and yoga studio. And we were able to raise $50,000 with that event, which was incredible for our first time putting that event together in such a short amount of time. So we're really pushing for events to kind of be a little bit outside the box and new ideas and new concepts. And so we have coming up during the month of September our Fall Stampede, which is the event that we are going on to now. This is our 9th year doing the Chick-Fil-A Fall Stampede. And instead of our regular 5K 1 mile walk, we are going to be doing an actual challenge the whole month of September, a virtual challenge. And Brandon, if you go to fallstampede.com, you can see kind of the options that we're giving everyone to be able to participate. We're doing a run and race challenge. And basically you get to sign up and register to be able to do 1 mile, 5 miles, 10, 100 miles. There's all different options. and you're committing to yourself to walk or run that amount of time to support children battling cancer during September, which is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month.
Yeah, it's a great cause. You know, these kids are, you know, they're dealt a hard hand. You know, their families are suffering. And remind me the mission of Children's Cancer Center is not to find a cure. It's not to treat the disease. It's actually to help families cope during the times of, you know, once the child is, you know, deemed to have cancer.
Yes, absolutely. That's exactly it. You know, we always say one of our taglines is that while there's many organizations searching for a cure for tomorrow, we're dedicated to being there today. And so what we do is emotional, financial, and educational support through 25 different programs to those families. And we walk alongside their journey from diagnosis all the way through survivorship and unfortunately sometimes through bereavement. But we're walking alongside their journey day by day and do the financial, emotional, educational aspect of that journey.
Yeah, that's such a great cause. And, you know, it's a great organization. We've had, you know, many of you, your representatives on the show. Patty's been on the show. We've had several, you know, folks represent very well the Children's Cancer Center. So, yeah, we want to urge our listeners to support, if they can, Children's Cancer Center. And what's the best place to contact you guys, or how do you want people to donate or call or text? What's the best way?
You know, right on our website, childrenscancercenter.org. To make a donation, there's a donate button. If you go to our directory, you can reach any of us. We're located on 4901 West Cypress Street. And you can see our phone number there, our emails. You can reach any of our staff at any time. And then, of course, see our event page as we update to try to make this new normal into our new events. You can access that from our website. And if anyone's interested in participating in the Fall Stampede, that has its own website, which is fallstampede.com.
Fallstampede.com. Got it. All right. And Children's Cancer Center, at any given time, what's that number of families that you guys are supporting right about now?
Well, you know, we have over 1,000 families in our database, families here in our backyard. So it really averages, and depending on which programs each family is participating in. But we have over 1,000 families in our database.
Wow. Well, keep up the great work. Tell everybody hello. Tell Patty hello and the team. And we appreciate all you're doing out there, Julian.
Thank you so much, Ryan. Thank you for having us on. We appreciate it.
Hey, my pleasure. All right, guys, please support Children's Cancer Center if you can. Great organization. They do a great job in the community, and unfortunately they're being hit now, of course, with the pandemic, not being able to do their live events. So they've got their Fall Stampede, fallstampede.com, and check them out at childrenscancercenter.org as well. Hit the donate button, and we appreciate all you do out there. And hey, another great show. We had a great show here. We had attorney Jason Kobal on the program, William Wall, senior editor, The Ghost Publishing, and also Dan Menikheim, Pro Health Pest Control. Support our show partners, expert contributors, and please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Do something kind for one another and be a force for good in the community. We'd appreciate if you follow us online at Brandon Rhymes 1 on Instagram and Twitter, Consumer Quarterback Show page on Facebook. We can link up on LinkedIn, and also check out and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Over 1,000 videos of great content on our YouTube channel. We'll see you next time. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time